I'll tell you when I see it. Okay, live now.
Yeah.
Okay, if everybody can just share it on their platforms real quick. Like, share. I'm gonna get it up on my end. It should already be public, so y'all should be able to easily share it.
Let me see.
Yeah, it should be public, so you guys should be able to share it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Let me know when y'all got it.
It's straight.
I just posted. Yep. My old lady, she says, like, where is it at? Okay, I'm gonna show you. Let's see. I'm gonna show you.
All right, so everybody should be good to go. Can y'all hear good? Everybody hear good? Everybody's mics up?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Good evening.
Well,
Hi.
Let's see what's up. How's everybody doing?
pretty good.
Awesome.
Can everybody hear everybody clear?
I can hear.
Okay.
Good.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. Outstanding. So, we got some new faces in the building, but before we do the introductions, let's do our usual word of prayer. Marquita, would you mind doing our word of prayer real quick for tonight? Just real quick.
Yes, I can do that. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all things and everything that you have already done. Thank you for the time that you have allotted us on earth to complete the assignments and our purpose that you have already put before us in Jesus' name. Thank you so much for giving us life. Thank you for protecting us. We're asking that this conversation be enlightening as well as educational to people who have questions about it. Give us the insight, give us the things that we need to say for better understanding for us as well as to the people that are watching and listening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Thank you, lady. Appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
Hey, everybody, we have our usual suspect just getting out of being detained by Chicago's finest. Mr. Charles Dixon is in the building, you guys.
All right, good to be here.
Chicago PD just let him loose, so it's a little strange. Y'all know why. Marquita in the building, hailing from D.
Hi. Duval.
And then we have two new gang members in the building. Got Hustle and Flow. So, Dr. Woods, grace us with some information. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you hail from, and who you are.
I'm the Doc A. Woods. I'm really from Side Town, but I rode through here in Houston. I thought I'd hang out for a little bit. Come, students, please. Yes, I am a real doctor. Don't let this pretty face fool you.
Great.
I got a little idea. I got little thoughts and processes about this whole game. I've been happily married for almost 20 years. I got three beautiful. So I hold 4 degrees in different subjects. So you can call me the love doctor if you want to.
We already got one love doctor. We don't need two.
Do they have a DR in front of their name?
We already got somebody up here. We already got a professing love doctor in the building. We can't have but so many of those.
Okay, call me Dr. Romantic.
Here we got my trading brother in the building. Carl, what's up?
How you doing? Good.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You got to speak up a little bit, Carl, so we can hear you good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah.
All right. I think it's the distance from my mic. I did 20 years of marriage. Sound like prison time.
You sound like you did prison time, Carl.
It feels like that. It feels like that.
It's 20 years. What?
Yeah. I did 20 years. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, two awesome boys. Originally from Queens, New York. living in North Carolina now in the G borough. Um, and like she said, I'm a trader. I've got my own lawn care business. I've got my own photography and promotion business, and just trying to help people understand this new dating game that's out there.
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. Since you didn't did
Right.
20, you did a 20-year sentence. Are you recently out of prison? Recently out of prison, or you've been out of prison for a while?
Let me check my stripes. Check my stripes and see if they're fading long enough. I can tell you if I'm been out long.
On tonight. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna hit the narrative real quick, and we're gonna go from there. When we think of plans, we think of preparation, getting something in order, or actual execution of a strategy. We further think of beginning with the end in mind. Yet, how often does this happen in new age relationships, be it male or female? Who steps up to bat, making their intentions understood and crystal clear, to share their truth by being upfront and fully honest? Or is it that we are living in the era of the long-term, quote-unquote, players game, where no one makes a decision and we just do whatever we feel with whomever we want, regardless of who we hurt and what it may cost us? Where there is no means to an end, and the only thing that we are doing is arousing our senses and enjoying the euphoria. Pleasure is truly the sole purpose of the person that plays. Regardless of which side of the coin we find ourselves on, the question still remains, is this: do you have plans for me, or are we just playing? What message are you really conveying? The saga continues on the hot seat tonight.
All right.
So this came from this was interesting because initially when I kind of mustered up the idea in my brain, I thought about it from the girl guy thing. You know how it always seems like, and I don't want to sound I don't want to say, well, I'm gonna say it the way I'm sensing it in my brain. Hopefully nobody takes offense to it. But it always seems like we are the people who are emphasized when it comes to the offense of being played with, if you will. It always seems like the woman is the one that everybody says, oh my God, I can't believe he did her like that, or oh my God, he left her with all those kids and stuff like that. So ironically, I had a conversation with a guy, and he said, no, y'all just as dirty as we are. You need to switch it, because y'all just dirty and gross. I said, hey, don't get in your feelings, dog. Calm down. He was like, no. Like, no, this ain't, no, you need to do. I said, okay, my God. I said, you want to be on the show? He's like, no, man, I'm sensitive right now. So apparently he hasn't had a great responses from the ladies ministry, if you will, on tonight. So that's where the whole idea came from, was like, switch it up and make it unisex to where it's applicable to everybody. To everybody, because in all actuality, a lot of things are happening nowadays where you see guys who are taking full responsibility of their children and stuff like that, because the woman is saying, hey, I ain't doing this, I'm out, and things like that. Or a girl who got multiple dudes and nobody knew they was all on the team. They didn't know they was on the basketball team. They thought they was a starting player, and the list goes on and on. So it is a different day and time that we live in when it comes to the dating game. So, Carl, grace us with the first comments on tonight, if you will.
My thought process is, and I think I'll look at it from me personally. At my age, I have to date with a purpose. I don't have time to, and I put that out front. I'm not. It's not a game for me. My intention is to eventually remarry. So if she's not willing to meet that criteria or do those things, then it's time, I'm going to move on. So I definitely put that out there first. But I do see, and I talk to a lot of people, now being single and stuff. There are a lot of people I talk to that have wasted 8, 10, 12 years with someone. And then that person says, hey, I don't want to get married. I just don't see dating somebody that long. And then you want to get married, but I hear a lot of people saying, hey, I thought this person was the right one, or like you said, I got played, but I know guys that are getting hung. They're kind of your ring question. Do you get the ring back that you put out there today?
Right.
And they're getting hit with that. They go get the ring, and they've been with this girl for 2 or 3 years, and then she's like, oh, I never wanted to get married.
Right. That kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a drama. It's a sticky subject because there is a lot of drama stuff, and I've been on both sides of the coin. But when I was playing, it was playing, if you will. I kind of planned out my players' years. Like when I didn't want to be serious, I planned it out. I'm not, Charles. I know. See, Charles.
You
See,
planned it out.
yes,
Mhm.
I planned out my playing years, no doubt. Let me tell y'all why. Let me tell you how. I mean, this is true. What happened was after my marriage was dissolved, he passed away right after that. Like within a year, he was dead. Okay, so you can imagine my whole family was traumatized during the course of that time, right? Nonetheless, being as young as I was 34. I was still in my prime and everything. I thought I was, kind of cute and whatnot. So, when we don't laugh, Marquita, because you still a tenderoni.
Listen.
But considering seriously, after I went through my counseling, got myself back on track or whatever, I made a conscious decision to say, hey, I do not want to be serious until my children get older. I had apprehensions about putting them in front of another person. I just didn't, that wasn't a comfort level for me. They had a great father, and I never wanted to, in my brain, I never wanted to be the person to make somebody else compete, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no, you doing that? Oh, they dad never did that. I didn't want to put somebody in that space. At the same time, I wanted to have companionship. Somebody I can hang out with, kick it with, do stuff on the weekend, travel, blah blah blah, you name it, whatever. So what I did was my playing years. I had a set amount of playing years where I was not going to be serious with anybody. I just enjoyed dating in totality. I had no intentions. At that time, I wasn't in the frame of mind saying, oh, I want to be remarried, blah, 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 blah. That was not my intentions. So, but what I did was anybody that I was dating, they knew. I didn't make it unknown like most people do, where people don't have the information to make a well-informed business decision, if you will. Dealing with, they knew what was up. So it was never a question of, oh, I don't know. Oh, man, I can't believe Coffee did that to me. Man, she, blah, 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 blah. It was never that type of issue. I was always very, very upfront. Now, mind you, I know a lot of guys and females who are not transparent like that, and they do it behind their other people's backs or whatever, so they can kind of like do what they do in the dark or whatever. But I just wasn't one of those kind of people. So I literally planned my playing time. Adrian. Your brain is on fire over there. Go on, say what you got to say.
And I don't want to offend nobody. I'm going to start off by saying that. Dating to get married makes no sense to me. It doesn't. Because that is the purpose of dating in general. I don't have to put my intentions out the first day.
Sure.
You may be cray-cray, and I don't know until you drink the right juice or your toe gets stubbed and you stabbing me in my sleep. I watch snap. So you got to get to know somebody. So when I meet you, I'm not gonna say, man, she's beautiful, I'm gonna marry her tomorrow. No, I got to get to know you. I have to date you. And when I'm dating you, that does not mean you're my woman. That does not mean that we're exclusive. That means we are dating. That's what the whole purpose of dating is, to fill each other out. Now, if I say we're exclusive, I want to be with you.
Right.
Now we're talking about maybe thinking about taking things to a deeper level. But dating is, don't ask me on the first date. I know my jersey has been retired, like I said, for 20 years. But I can't imagine nobody. And this whole new generation of dating, I couldn't even do it. Y'all Google each other and and do all this other kind of high-tech mischievous. How about the mystery? How about the intrigue and the intimacy of getting to know someone on that deeper level? Because I've always said it. If my woman decides to leave me tomorrow because I'm in love with her, hey, booby, I know you watching. I'm not getting remarried. It's going to be me. We're going to kick it. I'm not saying I'm never going to get remarried. I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying is I have no plans. God loves me and knows what I don't need in my life.
Right.
I've spent, what I'm saying? So, but if you ask me on a first date, where is this going? I'm going to look at you. I'm going to my house. This is where I'm going. What do you mean, where is this going? I'm trying to see if I dig you enough to even have to text you tomorrow. I'm busy. I work 60 hours a week. So let's see if I can think about you tomorrow. I'm not thinking about marrying you yet. That don't make sense to me.
Well, the thing. Let me put this in context. When I'm talking about when you come to somebody about plans, I'm not talking about somebody that I just started seeing. I'm talking about later on down the line. Because sometimes in the era, this day and age, and Adrian, I know you know people who are dating right now, they're with somebody who really doesn't have a means to an end identified. They're just doing something for whatever reason they're doing it. But the other person is not privy to what that reason. You understand what I mean? So that's the era of playing, where the other person is
Yeah,
not
but
privy to
when
what's
I
up.
literally when I literally read this, I know women and men who tell
Mm-hmm.
me I'm dating with a purpose in mind. I'm not dating
Mm-hmm.
out here just to be dating. And
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so when they're spending time with somebody, their expectations are not equal to the expectations they're with. This is
Right.
this is where communication comes in. Now, if I intentionally lie to you and say you're the only one, baby, don't have that expectation of me if I've not told you. You
Right.
assume. You know what happens when
Right.
you assume.
Right.
So a lot, I literally know women who will say on the first two dates, "Where is this going?" So when you say to
Mm.
me a plan, there's people you started day one knowing that you were looking for a husband, and I was looking for somebody to hang with. So I don't call that a player. A player to me is somebody who intentionally lies to you and says, "You the only one. I love you." No, if I didn't tell you that, that's not playing. That's not me. I knew what my reason was. You just never asked.
And see that's what you said about the communication, which is good because a lot of people do not state the facts. But like in any scenario, what you said is something that we talk about quite frequently on the show, and Charles' show, on my show, when we talk about the dating is the fact finding. That's the course of time where you're just fact finding. You're just trying to identify who this person is, what if you all are compatible. Do you want to even take it any further? Blah 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 blah. But after you get past that point, when you hit the exclusivity mark and you identify that this is the person you want to be with, there should be some type of plan in place as far as where you want to go. If you tell somebody you want to be exclusive with them, why are you being exclusive if there's no means to an end? What for?
Well,
That
but then
makes sense.
also, I go back to
Right.
when I was first married, and then I'm gonna shut up. I remember my first 2 months of being married. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so we were high school sweethearts, So I'm in the army. She says, "Hey, I want to be with you." I'm like, "I want to be with you too." So we say, "Let's stop playing games and get married." So we go do our thing. We get married. She comes up there to Oklahoma and stays with me, right?
Uh-huh.
I remember arguing over toilet paper,
Oh wow.
not what I'm saying, what type of toilet paper, how I hung the toilet paper. We argued over what side of the bed to stay on. And so I may say at this time, I just want to be with you, but you don't really know somebody until you reach that next level sometimes.
Right.
Because when
Right.
you date, you're putting for that pretty foot.
Right.
You gotta love somebody's crazy.
Right.
Mm.
So when I'm just with you, that you get comfortable. Now I'm going like, Poppy, I know you. Then you know what I'm saying. So I know you're on a different level than somebody just meeting you. I'm gonna be like, I know her crazy. You know what I'm saying? That girl crazy. But
Mm.
until I get to know you on that comfortable level, I'm
Right.
still seeing this facade you throwing at me. So
Right.
it may be my perspective to be with you, but when your crazy come out,
You might
I
have
have
to
to
back
move
out.
around.
Back
Somebody
five.
told me once, you see crazy cross the
Might
street.
have the exit stage left.
Yeah.
Marquita, what you thinking about over there, Marquita?
Um, kind of both. Like I'm thinking about the initial conversation during a first date, as well as when you're actually spending time with somebody down the line, and how you should actually communicate both. I would say right now, with me being freshly out of a divorce, um, I'm not trying to get married right now. I think eventually I would want to. But right now, my conversation is, listen, this isn't going any further than this dinner. I mean,
Right.
and then
Right.
if I do see where I'm somewhat interested in somebody's kind of like reeling me into where I feel like I could possibly be with them
Mm-hmm.
when I decide to get married, um, then I will actually have that conversation at that time. Like, listen, before this is what I was doing. I didn't really want to get married. I really didn't see marriage in my future to maybe like 6 years, 10 years, maybe down the line. But I don't want to pass up the opportunity based on how I feel like I want to play around.
if I see somebody who's actually really interesting.
Right.
So I mean, to me, it is having that conversation either straight up, whether the first date or you want to play around, or if you actually see somebody wanting to be with them later on down the line, then you have the conversation too. But it's just like, I don't want to pass up an opportunity saying initially I want to play around, but now I actually see you're somebody who I could potentially see myself with. Now I need to tell you, well, the narrative has switched.
Right.
Like before, this is my intention was this.
Exactly.
But now that we're having more conversation, hanging out more, I see I can flip that from, I don't really want to play with you, so let me tell you how I'm feeling now.
Yeah.
And then allow them to choose whether or not I am.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm just glad you said that, because more often than not, I think it starts off playing and then it turns into something else. But I like how you said the narrative switches. You know, it does start off where, you know, hey, I see you, boy meets girl, girl meets guy. I'm digging you, we vibing, whatever. And it starts off with that vein, and then there's a probability that it may go somewhere else. But who's to say? And then, like Adrian said, it's funny when you start talking about somebody's crazy. It's interesting because some people can really mask their psychosis, if you will. And they can mask it for a long period of time before you get that reality check, you know. And sometimes it doesn't even come out until after nuptials.
Yeah.
People don't even know that they dealt with somebody who's like, man, I can't believe, did you just flip that switch like that? Are you serious? You know, so it's the whole thing is real seriously interesting. Mr. Dixon, grace us with
Yes.
grace us.
Well, you know, you and Miss Marquita brought up some points to make me think about some things. But here's the thing: the way men are wired, and this is where the risk comes in with the play part. Because you know how, because Marquita said, you know, right now I'm not really trying to do all that. I'm just trying to kind of be over here and see if I like you. And then what happens is, in that case, if there's a good chemistry, she almost always ends up, you know what? He's kind of cool. But the loss has already taken place in the playing. Because how we see it is, if we look at this as you're okay with us playing, unless we really look at you as, you know what, even though we playing, this can be some long stay stuff. Other than that, that's how we program it. We don't really shift the way we see you. We see you as playing in the playground, and that's how we see it. Well, you all are saying, okay, we done played enough. Now it's time to play house. And we like, no, we want to go back outside, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So in an ideal world, really, to be honest, both of you all made a point that made me think about this. When P. Coffee, you said you had a designated time that you wanted to play. And Marquita said, you know, it's not that I want to play, but I'm not on that type stuff right now, so I want to do this. So in an ideal world, it'll be great to have two different lakes to swim in. People that are in the recycling mode and people that are in the real looking mode. Then people might have a little better chance to make it, because, to be honest, the pool that you all were swimming in creates friend zones. Whenever you're like that, what happens is you'll date a man and you'll say, you know what, I like him, but it's not there. It's not the chemistry not there. And then all of a sudden, I do know somebody I can introduce him to, and now he's looking at you because he really likes you, and now here comes the creation of Local Steve. He likes you, but now he's in the friend zone forever because you guys aren't on that type time until you're ready to. But like anything, P. Coffee Mike can witness to this. You may start off. I bet you P. Coffee.
I can't be no witness to nothing.
I'm gonna get you. I bet you P. Coffee started off saying, "Oh, for this many time or this month or this year, I'm going to do this." But there's always that person that can be the game changer that'll meet you, and then you'll be trying to get him to be all serious while he's trying to follow suit and play your game. You get my drift?
You know what, Mr. Dixon? At this time, I am not going to. I'm not going to put myself under the bus. We're gonna put you under the bus, Mr. Dixon.
Oh my goodness, go ahead.
You know, you've said in times past on numerous shows, you know, back in your player days before you got to the place where you got Mr. Charles. When you were in the pool, in that lake of playing, did you come across a game-changing chick in your process?
Well, see, let me tell you a secret, okay? Even in the pool.
Don't avoid.
No, I'm gonna give you the answer. And I said this on one of my shows before. I said even in the pool, I'm still going to swim with the sharks. I'm never going to swim with a goldfish. I'm only going to swim with the serious fish, even if I'm playing. So the turnaround is not going to be hard for me because I already like it, the person anyway, to a degree in that way. Or I don't do well just kind of playing substitution people. You understand what I'm saying? If I don't like, if you're on the bench, I'm not that interested in you on the bench. I need for you to have like a starting five quality about you.
Well,
You
everybody
understand?
So wait a minute. So the Sharks take a loss.
Huh?
starting quality. It wasn't nobody on the team that wasn't starting quality. Now we ain't have no.
No, I'm trying to tell you, not everybody that you date, not everybody that you date is starting quality for women. Now I've seen this plenty of times. I've heard them at work many times and say, "Oh, they'll call guys out by either his job title or the car he got." They'll be like, "You mean the doctor? Yeah, him. You know, he's this, that, and the other. But, or this one's this. But you guys put him in tiers,
but
different
those
tiers.
are straight bench players. They never will actually be in the game ever.
But also, you got to understand, for women, this is okay. This is okay for you women. You're allowed to do this. You're finding yourself. You're becoming new. You're regaining your power. But when us men do it, we're players. We're dogs. We're this and that. And even if we're straight honest,
you're not serious. You're not serious.
You're not serious. You're playing. Yeah. No, but even if I tell you, the stigma's already there. As men, we're supposed to come in here, know what we want to do, be straight up. But even when we're straight up and tell you, I remember I used to tell women, I'd be like, I'm no good. You know, I'm no good. I'm gonna tell you how I am. I'm kind of an a-hole. And they'd be like, I can change him. I can change his mind. And they stick around, but it's my fault. I hurt her. I did this to her. No, you knew what you were getting into, and you chose to be here anyway. But it's that stigma. For you, it's okay. As a woman, it's okay. You're finding yourself. Regain your power, boo. But as a man, I can't do that. I can't find who I am and remember. I'm not supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's a true statement right there. And I hear that a lot where they say, you know, if as a man, if we're not ready to date, then we should stay out the pool. Yeah. You know, as Mr. Dixon said, you know, if you're a man, you're not ready to be committed or serious to a degree. We need to stay out of the pool completely until we're ready to be out there, because you're right. When you're up front and say, hey, I just want somebody to hang out with, or maybe go to movie, do something with that, and they want something more, and you tell them it's not there now, you know, you wasted my time, or you, you know, you should have told me you weren't serious. Well, I told you I didn't want a relationship. So, so for men, I think it is a double standard there where we're not given an option to really find ourselves.
Right. Well, I think too, this is where guys mess up. The guys who have, high quality guys, okay? This is where high quality guys mess up, because they treat every scenario like a relationship, okay? So if you're a high quality guy and you say, "Oh, I don't really want a relationship," but you taking her out, you know, making sure you always do this, and she called and say, "Hey, can you come fix my plumbing? Oh my God, the pipe bust." You doing that kind of stuff and all that kind of stuff, in her brain, she thinks she's in a relationship. That's where That's where the incorrect information comes in. Because if you say, "Hey, let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you straight up how I did it. I never rode with the guy. I never invited him back to my house. It was none of that stuff came into play, because I was literally playing, but I wasn't playing for keeps. So I was playing with my deck, with my full deck in my hands, and every time I throw them cards out, I'm gonna have a full house. Because I'm not going to put myself in a position to where I can find myself vulnerable, period. It was
that
not
makes no sense to me.
It wasn't
that makes no sense.
This is the deliberate playing. This is the deliberate playing. Now, Charles was right. I did meet that dude who did flip that switch on me, which kind of screwed me up because I wasn't ready for that. I was so focused on how I was in that vein, and then whoop, there it is. Here comes the guy that I end up liking by accident. I truly didn't mean for that to happen. But he was in that vein of, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. But he was a high quality guy, so he had all the characteristics of the guy. You see what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's where
the double standard. That's where the double standard comes in. My mama taught me to be a gentleman. So it doesn't matter what type of woman you are, I'm gonna treat you like you are a fabulous queen. Right. So if you need me, I'm gonna be there. That's not mean you're my woman. If my homegirl right now called me, she helped fixing her car, I'm coming over. You know, it's not because I'm not a high quality dude. I'm just a guy treating a woman like she's supposed to be treated. And if you see me like that in your brain, that is not my fault.
This day and age, it's called high quality in this day and age. Okay?
No, well here it is, Peacock. Okay, so listen, Doc.
Why would I be high quality? Why can't it just be a good dude? So if I'm a good dude to you, I can't still have my time to play. But I'm just a good dude to you.
But here's the thing, and he makes the point. What this is the point he's making. So here's the part we have to look at it. Sometimes I think women mistake, let's call it life at his level as him trying to lead you on. Let's just say if Doc is Doc and the way he lives his life, maybe he like crab legs during the week. He might like these are things he's gonna do regardless if he's going out with you or not. So if you go out with him, he's gonna say, hey, let's go get some things. She's gonna be like, where you gonna go? Oh, I want to go over to such and such Gibson Steakhouse. And she like, I'm gonna text my friend. I'm going to the steakhouse, and he's saying, look, I just like the soup there. Let's go. So he's on another level. So the way he likes to live his life, that's just simple. And so it's not his fault that the woman is misinterpreting his movements like he's leading her on. That's just how he lives. You know what I'm saying? So until he has that conversation with you to distinguish, this is what you want to do with this, that, and the other, then you can make your pull from there. But something you said earlier, Peacock, when you said the guy caught you off guard. You know why he caught you off guard? One of the things I think a lot of women fall into trouble with is intrigue. And intrigue always leads to the slow bleed. When you're intrigued by somebody, sometimes that's fine. But sometimes what you're intrigued with, you just need to leave behind the fence. Because it's likely a lion that can tear your head off. But it's intriguing because it's difficult. And like Doc said, I can change him. Or I think if I get next to him, he'll switch up because of the kind of person I am. In some cases, men are only going to change unless they just really want to with you. If they don't, they're going to be who they are. That's it. Yeah, that's it. If they want to change with you, then they'll change with you.
In my defense, I had no expectations of him to change. I just so happened to find myself liking him. I had no expectation of him to do this, that, and the other. I just found myself liking him because he had the qualities. It's kind of like what Marquita said. When you start out playing and you say, I could see you as something more than just somebody I could play in the yard with. It's basically, it was that type of concept. It was never, I have 5 brothers.
Okay.
I know good ham and cheese well that you can't change. I have 5 brothers.
Okay.
Correct.
All of my brothers are married except for one. And they have adjusted in those relationships, within the confines of those relationships, but they have not changed the core of who they were as individuals. Period. It's never happened. You know, so some of the mannerisms that they had even when we was kids, I'm like, you still do that? Are you serious? Because that's the core of who they are. So I I never have an expectation of a guy to change. That's just not realistic. What I do expect is for us to be able to adjust to the confines of this relationship that we're in. Because when you're in a relationship,
that's what change is. That's what change is.
No. Adjustment, no, it's not the same thing. Adjustment just means like if it's like if you live in a house by yourself, Charles, you got to adjust to somebody else coming in there. If you get married, it's not that you're changing. You're just making concessions to agree with that person so y'all can walk together. That's all it is. So you're not changing Charles.
But guess what?
So y'all can be agreed. That's all that is.
But nobody in relationships want to feel like they're with somebody who their mojo or magic doesn't work on. Everybody thinks they have a certain it thing about themselves, whether you have noticed it or other person noticed it or not. We all have it. And so no one wants to be with somebody when you can say in your in a psychological way, say, bam, this is going to get me this kind of treatment, and nothing happens. You want to feel like your mojo works. So this is why I talk about the changing aspect. You may not be saying it vocally, but internally you are kind of hoping that a person's ways kind of shift to kind of flow with you a little bit.
And
to a degree.
sometimes women lie to themselves. You have to be honest
Yeah.
with yourself. Sometimes
Yeah.
women lie to themselves. Because as a man, they say, Coffee, me and you, we've been friends for a minute now. You know,
Right.
we can go to lunch, and as a man, I'm gonna pay for your lunch. I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna offer to drive because
Right.
I'm a man and I feel I have manners. You know,
Right.
and I have been in situations where I have to watch myself because I do. You know, like I said, I've been married for a long time, but I still have this situation. If a girl tells me she misses me and we just supposed to be friends, I have to back up. Not because
Mm.
I've changed or anything about me is different, but I can tell her the way she looks at me is different. And you can't
Right.
blame me or expect the way I was raised to treat a
Response.
woman
Yeah. Right.
change because of your perceptions. You
Mm.
know, that's not playing. That is me being who I am and being a man. And it's because if you chose to deal with boys before, and now when you get with Big Daddy, you know what I'm saying, you don't know how to act.
You know what? The doors are now closed. Marquita, go ahead and say what you got to say, girl, because he didn't flip the whole church.
Listen, I think because I'm with you, Coffee, about not wanting to change anybody, because I know people can't just come in and say they're going to change me or whatever. I think what happens is majority of the guys, we kind of know how they play.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
when we say we're just playing, we already know how to meet that. Oh, he's
Right.
going to say this, so I'm going to say this.
Right.
But I
Okay.
think what changed, and when I say I kind of see myself with this person, is he's actually a gentleman for real.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
you don't get that often. So that's why it's like
Right.
that's where the shift comes in, and where you
Right.
start to say that, oh, now I could kind of see myself with him because he does this. I wasn't ready. My playing field wasn't ready for that.
Exactly. Right.
So
Right. Because
I
my
think we
whole
put
thing
that.
is, and I'm sure Marquita, you can agree with this. When you're a mature person and you know and you carry yourself a certain way, you're gonna attract what you are. So if you're good
Right.
quality, if you're high quality, you're gonna attract high quality. So I ran into the same kind of concepts because I literally had guys pissed at me because they was like, "Man, come on now, we could, why don't you consider it?" I'm like, it's not the, I don't want to consider it. It's not my time to make a consideration. It's not even on the table of negotiation. So
Mm.
whenever you are a person of quality, you're gonna have it no matter whether you're a guy or a girl. You're gonna have those people who get a convoluted idea in their brain thinking that you're in a relationship with them or you want to be with them because of how you carry yourself and how you treat them, how you respond to them, how you nurture them, or how you speak to their ego, or you just have this aura or essence about yourself. I had to tell one guy, I said, the pet name that you got, everybody got. Everybody got that pet name. So you're not
Love.
you're not by yourself with that. You think because I call you this particular pet name that it's just this, that doesn't
Right.
distinguish you from anybody else. That keeps me from having to worry about whose name I'm calling in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody got the same pet name. That's just period. So then
But
he
you
was
also
like,
got to think about
This
the
is
women who
going well.
overrate themselves.
but I'm being frank.
Yeah.
I'm being frank. When you're playing, it should be planned if that's what your intent is. It should be planned. Your plan, your strategy of execution, you should have some type of idea of how you want to play. It's like when I played basketball, when I ran track. Those sports, they were playing, but I bet you we had identifying means to an end. I didn't run the 880 doing 440 stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
understand
That
what
don't
I'm
make
saying?
no sense either. This is not Xbox. This is life.
It makes perfect sense. It may not,
No,
you may not
no
agree with it,
man
but it
wakes
makes
up today
perfect
and
sense.
says, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Today I'm gonna be a player. No man does that. We wake up and say, okay, does this woman bring quality to my life? Does
Mm-hmm.
she enhance me, or
Right.
is she just some female that I enjoy her company? And there's a
Mm.
difference. Men or women are wired different. This whole
True.
equality and we're the same, and I get it. You
Yeah.
can drive a car, dunk a basket, whatever you want to do. But when it comes to human nature, we're different. Men don't think like that. So we're not going to sit there and say, for the next 2 years, I'm going to play. No, I'm not going to do that. Like, when I first got married, I hated it. I was like, man, why did I do this? Man, I was tripping. And then I hit the age of 26 and my mind frame changed. And now I'm like, that boy was gone, and now this man is here, and this man enjoys being married. Like when I was young, I liked my wife in bodysuits and tight jeans, and now it's sexy when she does the dishes. I'm like, ooh, baby, scrub that pot. You know what I'm saying? So mine changed, Frank.
Okay,
So men don't feel like that. Men are not plotting on you women. There's not no grand scheme. There's not no secret club where we're like players ball every night.
And
No.
Adrian, you might not have been plotting, but
She froze because she about to say some crazy.
to do something wrong to somebody, but there are some people who deliberately do what they do. They know what they're doing and they do it deliberately. They're doing it on purpose.
But P. Coffee.
Have problems where people say that's the reason why you have situations like individuals who we know I'm not even gonna tell the story because then I'll tell on the person, Adrian, because we know somebody who went through that scenario with a guy who literally, this dude was deliberately deceiving people. This fool woke up in the morning to deceive people's daughters. That's what he was doing. So you may not be that guy. Charles may not be that guy. Carl may not be that guy. But I guarantee you, somebody else is that guy.
But there's not
guys.
But that's both sides, male and female.
Well, lady plotted for a man's money and killed him. It's people.
Yeah. That's both sides. That's both sides.
Same thing.
It's not a gender thing. Everybody does that.
It's a behavior thing. Carl, you look like you got something on your mind, Carl. Something on your mind. Let it off, Carl.
Oh no, I'm enjoying this. It's I'm just sitting back and listening on this one, but no, it's real. It's like you said, it's an integrity and character issue. I think for people who plot and plan to do that on a regular basis, right? If that's what their job is, and I get what you're saying. You took your time to say, hey, this is my playtime. Right. But you were upfront and honest. And again, I think that's the difference when you have people who are in the back of their mind, they know they're playing, and there are people out there who, the person wants to be serious or something like that. I think that's the difference on it, is integrity and character. But yeah, it goes across the board. Because you'll find women out there real quick that'll, I love that y'all say they call you by the name. Oh, that's Mr. BMW. That's Mr. Gucci. They're gonna come up with something with a name, right? And that's how they're identifying you. But like a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what they're looking at. It's like, what else can I get? And so now they go into this, and they're with the person, and he may not be serious, and then she gets mad because she can't ride around in the BMW no more. Right. And she thought it was going to be something else, so that's the biggest thing. I think, communication is key. When you're in marriage, and Doc, that is 20 years, you got to change your communication skills through the course of 20 years. Absolutely. So that's something that has to continue to happen. Even when you're out talking to someone, you've got to communicate and be upfront and honest.
In any partnership where you want to have success as the end in mind, there has to be communication, because I literally, and Carl, considering that the industry that we've been in when it comes to trading, but in those partnerships, you got to have the same mindset. Now, people don't come in with the same mindset initially, but they leave out with it. If they want to play in this particular field, they've got to leave out with it. So you have to make some concessions and adjustments, and that's in any kind of partnership. Another thing too that we need to dance around is the fact that if in fact someone is playing and another person is serious, we shouldn't even deal with that person, because we're leading them down a road that's a dead end. That's another component that a lot of people don't do, is they don't say, hey, okay, I'm playing for sure, but this person is playing for keeps. I need to cut you loose because I'm leading you down a dead end. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't go ahead and say, okay, you know what, let me cut ties with you because I know this ain't gonna work.
But here's the unfair component. Okay, so, and I'm not picking on you, P. Coffee, but just listen to you. Just a brief while ago. Just a brief while ago, you said, I got these nicknames, all this, that, and that, because I ain't on that. Right? I don't care. This is where I am.
I said a nickname.
No, but here's the thing, though. it always amazes me, period. And we all do it. It's like we 1 minute we want to be in this space and mind, and then because we change, we expect the other person to automatically evolve, or other people that we meet to evolve. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. And so here's the truth. People play for one or two reasons. They're either incapable of giving, or their heart is held up elsewhere. What I've learned in time is people will go on their life, date, even sleep with other people, but still be in love with somebody else. Or it's kind of a complicated thing, and maybe the person is married, maybe there's a reason why they can't physically be together, but they're moving on and being just like you, saying, right now I'm not on it, I just want to do that. When the truth is, nobody really, really, really wants to take the risk of being in the company of somebody and risking catching feelings with somebody that you can potentially like on purpose. You do it because you're not available to. You playing because I'm not capable of giving it to you. Yeah, I can't give it to you. So that's what we should say to people. You should have the health and wellness talk in the beginning. Are you sick? Can you give? If you can't, go from there. That's really the problem.
I mean, and the truth was, I said, I would have conversations. Depends on who the person was. I said, I'm not emotionally available. I'm just not. Because I already knew if once you open up the emotional component, then it's gonna go elsewhere. And I just wasn't emotionally available at that particular time in my life. But what I did do though, when I got to that place where I was making the shift, I backed out of the equation. I didn't date nobody for a couple of years, period.
Well, guess what?
Maturity level, and you can't count your maturity level.
I backed out of the whole equation because I wanted to make that shift, but I needed to change a lot of what I was doing in order to make that shift. So for a couple of years, I just didn't date nobody, didn't do anything, just chill.
You're counting your maturity on another person's maturity.
Right.
Dating is a race.
I'm not counting my maturity on nobody else's.
Yes, you are. Because if you're telling me that I can't tell you if I like you, that I'm gonna let you go because you're ready to get married and I'm not. Dating's a race. We're racing towards we're running towards the finish line, marriage, the wedding day. Some days the girl might be in the lead, and some days the guy might be in the lead. Right. So if I'm in the lead, but you're way behind, but I like you, so I'm gonna keep running, and we might not be at the same level at the same time. So just because I'm not at the same level at the same time, I shouldn't say, hey, I'm back here, babe. I'm gonna let you go. I'm not at your pace. No, I'm not gonna do that. And so you got to look at it like that, or maybe I'm not ready. And then just because, and if I like you, doesn't mean I'm gonna let you go. Maybe I like you, I'm just not ready right now. And you got to look at it. Right. Once again, there's a difference between man and woman. A man's only gonna do what a woman allows. Let's get it straight. If I like you as a man, I'm going to make the adjustments to be with you if that's who I want. If you're not the one I want, I'm not going to make those adjustments. Right. So if you're allowing me to live with you, if you're allowing us to have kids and have sex, you're allowing, I'm saying, to enjoy your company and all the benefits of being with you without putting a label on it, that's what I'm going to do because I'm comfortable here. And I'm not going to change my comfortable nature because I already have you. Right. So, like I always tell women, do not give up the cookie until you know this man is going to behave in the way that you find appropriate. Because if you give it to him in the beginning and he's acting which way he's acting, he's going to continue to act that way.
Right. And that's the reason why I said what I said. When I was in that frame of mind and that era in my life, I wasn't giving up the cookie. That's why I handled it the way that I handled it during that time frame. I was extremely deliberate in my approach. Now, mind you, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how somebody else does how they do whatever they do. But when I decided I wanted to be vulnerable and be open, that's when the shift happened for me. Everybody doesn't handle this type of thing the same way. It's not a script. There's no script that says you handle this way, you do that, you do this. There's no such thing as a script. There's no life script when it comes to dating, period. You can hear all kind of different sagas and stories and scenarios that come into place. Like, I would never date somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I can't even fathom in my mind where that's logical. Whereas the next woman would say, Oh, girl, that's my norm. That's something that I do on a regular basis. Where in my brain, I would think that I just don't buy into that philosophy to date somebody 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. That's just not something I would ever be willing to do. Never have. But again, somebody else's dynamic and their idea and their mindset may be totally different. I know somebody right now who's been dating a dude for 6 years. He ain't gave her a ring yet, and she said, "I'm just waiting on him whenever he's ready." And I'm like, "Well, how long is it gonna take him to get ready?" I mean, my God.
That's a long time.
But the guy is committed to her. He's loyal to her. He's consistent. I mean, he's with her. He ain't going, he shows that comfort that Adrian mentioned earlier about that comfort. He's showing that comfort, which means he may not ever cross the finish line because he is comfortable.
So, P Coffee. Oh,
Go ahead,
go ahead, Doc. Oh, real quick.
You
Oh,
know
go ahead,
somebody.
Doc. Go ahead.
Okay, you know somebody, Coffee. I'm not gonna mention no names, or I ain't throwing no out here. That they appear married. They're both on the same course.
Right.
They appear married. They have a home with children and everything else. And if you didn't know them as I know them, because you may not know this person that I know them, they're not even married. They've been together for 10 plus years. They don't
I know
want
exactly
to.
what you're talking about.
They have a whole family.
A whole family. Yeah.
A whole family, and they're together. And if you just seen them, you're going to think they're married because you got to think marriage is just a mind state. You know what I'm saying? A ring is just a physical symbol of that mind state.
Very true. Very true.
So in their mind, they're already married. So just because in your mind you're married, I'm still on date too.
Very true. Very true. Charles.
So, P Coffee. I was going to say.
Can you get off of me tonight, Charles?
I'm sorry. You're providing some good dialogue. Here it is.
I'm about to start
I keep going back to your logic.
I'm sweating.
Oh, look, I go back to, I'll group Marquita into this, and she said it too. I still gonna go back to the logic y'all had. So here's the thing. Just like you said, I wasn't giving up the cookie and all these different things and out 2 years. But you know what? Whenever you are putting yourself on the chopping block to date or hang out in any capacity with a man, you know what's happening? You are allowing CPR to be practiced on you. You let's just say you're unconscious because technically you're unplugged from dating, but you're still a body. So every guy's like, hey, because let's go out. Boom, boom. Oh, I got nothing. Nothing. Eventually, a little while later, after allowing them to keep on putting CPR on you, that one guy is gonna say, boom. You're gonna say, oh, are we ready to have sex? He gonna wake you up. What's gonna happen? So my point is, it's a gamble when you put yourself out there.
Which time frame are you talking about? Because the 2 years
I'm telling you,
was
what I'm
nothing.
saying to you is, in your mind, when women take that approach, you feel like nothing is bothering you, but subliminally, you're being worked on. You just don't understand it. It's happening. You just don't think. You think you're not affected by it, but each time you encounter a person, you're allowing yourself to have
If you're
that.
not dealing with anybody, how are you being affected by anything? You're not dealing with anybody. If you're not having sex, you're not dealing with anybody.
Yeah, subconsciously. And let's just be honest. In 2 years, ain't no P Coffee dealing with nobody. But anyway, so.
2 years is a long term. That's
Come on, 2 years.
Watch how you handle me. Watch how you handle me.
Well, listen, I'm not even talking about physical. I'm talking about just no dealings with nobody in 2 years.
No, I did it on purpose. I wanted to clean out what I had in me. That was
okay. That's noble. That's what you did.
It was a very
You're still comparing yourself to the world.
Thank you.
I have a saying: individuals are intelligent, people are stupid.
Ooh.
You're putting yourself in a category of that is something else. And what he's saying is true, because you got to think about it. There's men and women. I'm gonna always go back to physiology. God made us in His image, and I'm a true believer. But I also know that we're mammals, and there's certain characteristics that tell us when to wake, when to procreate. There's signals in our brain and our physiology. So I put it this way: when I was 21 and I first got married, I was chasing my wife around the house. Now I'm 40, my wife chases me around the house.
Right.
There's a different time frame. So even though you weren't mentally, you were saying I'm not. Physically, your body was saying it's about time. So eventually, because everybody can get
that's where the gym came. That's where the gym came in.
Man, ain't enough running in the world to take away that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much I can lift a bench press or how many cycles I can. When it each comes, this is a bad mojo, so it's coming.
Right. Right.
But
So,
that was a time in my life where I really was in very much in touch with my spirituality. That was my focus in my life at that time. I had a reason why I did it, which I won't disclose. But there was a reason why I did what I did for those 2 years, and I unplugged from the dating world in totality. I unplugged from sex. I unplugged from it all, and it was just a time frame in which where I chose to focus on my spirituality, focus on my family, and that was the things that I was focused on in that time frame. When I came out of that time, I responded differently. But while I was within the confines of that time, I didn't do a whole lot of going out. A lot of people didn't see me. I didn't make myself accessible for the possibility of getting myself into something that I know I wasn't ready for or open to. So I really became a hermit in a sense. I literally backed off. I went to work. I went to work out. I went to do my music stuff because I was heavily in music at the time, and I brought my behind home. That's what I did. I wasn't on the phone with nobody at night because that aroused my intellect, that aroused my physical body with the desire to want to have sex. I'm human. I'm not a robot. So a lot of the things that I knew would arouse me and push me to that place, I backed away from them on purpose. And I did
which is possible.
Yeah,
you can do that.
You can do it if it's a conscientious, but it has to be a conscientious choice and a burning desire, and you have to have a why you're doing it, and you have to have an end in mind. Because I wasn't gonna become a nun. It wasn't like I was gonna do this forever. But like I said, I won't disclose why I was doing it, but I needed that time away. Period. It was healthy for me to do that for my sake, for coffee's sake. It was very important for me to do that. Now, somebody else may not be able to do that in their life. Everybody is wired differently. Some people cannot back away from physical expression for an extended period of time. Some people just not wired that way. So, I don't judge whoever does however they do, but for my word's sake, this is my word and this is what I did, and that's exactly how I handled it.
But that's your wording because somebody's very physical. 2 years of no, I'm not. Now, emotionally, I may be cut off, but I'm not going to say that physically. So you took off the physical off the plate to fix your emotional. But sometimes you got to take your emotional off the plate to fix your physical.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? These are two different things because, I'm a type of person, even as a friend level, for me to say I care about you is a big deal for me. That's a big step for me emotionally. I don't even like the hug. I got a homegirl who she knows it makes me uncomfortable, but every time she sees me, she got to hug me. But for me, that's a huge deal. But to say I'm gonna just say take off physical, no, because I need that affirmation.
You know what? Somebody said something good in the chat. They said the why. The focus does make it possible. Delayed gratification. Absolutely.
But that delayed gratification can be false gratification though. You starve yourself so long. You starved yourself so long that you don't even know what reality is.
You're disconnected.
Wow. Well, you're disconnected. I have go into starvation for a long period of time.
I'm sure.
You said 2 years. That's like a fitness Sahara.
But like I said, to each his own. To each his own.
Right.
If that 2-year mark is too much for you, then you're gonna feel starved. Like Charles had a show about sexual what was that show? Malnutrition. He was talking about that on one of the shows that he had recently. Some people literally will starve to death if they don't express themselves physically. If they can't do it, they loot. They got to be able to have that outlet. Some people literally, that's a part of what makes them who they are, to be able to go in and penetrate someone and hear them respond to that. You know what I'm saying? Some people, that's a stimulate. That's something that does for their mind. It keeps their mind.
It's all mental.
It's all mental. So for one guy could say, hey, this right here, when my woman says what she says to me, when I'm inside her, it does it for me. Whereas another guy could say, listen, I'm not driven by that per se. I respond differently in that capacity, but to each his own. Or every woman is wired different. Some women, they got to have a guy who does this or that. Some guy, like you had another show about the bedside manner thing. Somebody may say, oh my God, I love it when my man is, when he walks in here with boxes on or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Or, I love it when my man walks around or whatever, and this, that, and then when I see him walking, it just does it for me. So every person is wired different as far as what's going to trigger them and what that need getting met looks like. You know what I mean? So for me, I
Yeah,
wasn't.
but you also gotta understand. Once again, I'm gonna go back to physiology. Physiology. Sorry, booby. I'm trying to behave. I really am. But
No, you're
I know
not.
some punches. I'm trying. I'm trying. But you got to think about it like this: men and women are different. I'm gonna keep preaching that until I'm gonna
Oh,
give you a shirt.
absolutely.
Men and women are different.
Absolutely.
So mentally, for you, it's different. But men are physical. We're physical
Right.
creatures. We're led by our manhood. So even though mentally we may be trying to be in control, that monster comes out. So
Correct.
a woman, that's why you ever see them dudes who look like Denzel, but with somebody who look like Shaka Zulu,
Right.
because there's something about that woman that physically attracts him.
Right.
So even
Right.
though we may be kicking it with them because we find something physically attractive, does not mean mentally they're stimulating us.
Right.
That is when a man is mentally stimulated and physically stimulated, that's when you got him. And so
Right.
if you cut yourself
Right.
off, or him cutting himself off is not feasible for him because he is looking for that complete stimuli.
Right.
You know, they want to be, a man wants to be cared for as
Right.
he provides. He wants to
Right.
be, the male ego is very fragile. So, you know what I'm saying? Women don't understand that because you want to be told you're beautiful, but as a man, we want to be told we're awesome. You know, no
Right.
matter, you know what I'm saying? I was watching a sermon, I think, you know what I'm saying, it was T.D. Jakes, he said, you want to see a man succeed, you know what I'm saying? He is made in God's image, so he is going to be justified in the praise you give him. You want him to
Correct.
do dishes?
Good stuff.
Tell him how awesome he washed that
Right.
one cup. That
Right.
brother's going to wash the whole sink.
That's it. That's
Right.
it.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
you can't, as a man, I'm not gonna starve myself from that gratification for 2 years when to me that is my sign of you are the one I want to be with. You know, when we stop, because I don't care. I can't stand women who say don't be looking around. You're with me. You're supposed to only have eyes for me. That's a lie. Because as a man, you're going to look. But when you're mentally into this woman, I'm gonna look at this big old booty over here, but I'm gonna be like, that still don't compare what I got at home.
Right.
That
Right.
woman right here can't cook.
Right.
My woman's gonna make me some ham hocks and some
But it
biscuits.
takes a mature mind to do that because
Right.
my mom used to always say, "You look long, you look wrong." Next thing you know, you having a David syndrome, where you trying to identify how you gonna execute what you just saw. So you got to be a very mature man to look and don't think and don't touch and don't pursue. It takes a very mature man to say what you just said, and it come in his mind and go right back out, and it's not lingering.
Well, guess
But my
what?
thing
What?
is, go ahead, man. I don't want to.
No,
You know,
no.
I got you
What Doc just said is evident of the kind of woman he has. I'll tell you why. I said this to somebody earlier, and I said this on an older show of mine. I said that men we often become the sum total of the woman in our ear. That's why it's important who you allow access as your woman.
Correct.
Because a lot of times they're speaking things to you. Pillow talk is a powerful time, or just anything throughout the day. Hey, Carl, you know what? I really think you should do this. And if she's your woman, you're like, okay, you think so, baby? That's the main first thing we say. You think so? We considering it. And once we eat it, it's in us. So that's why I say if you're able to get those right nutriments of affirmation from your person, it's great as a man because it will manifest itself in the way he walks. You understand what I'm saying?
because that's why if you're not feeding your man emotionally and spiritually, he's going to wander physically.
Right.
Because
That's
those boosts of the ego are going need to be given.
Right.
Saying no matter what he's doing, you have to feed that ego. Just like we have to feed y'all. I'm saying you're beautiful. I'm saying one thing I see my wife every day is she's beautiful. She may not think it in her head because women have them. You have society and the media that paint you in this picture that no woman's supposed to fit in. You know, because if you're over the age of 35 and you don't love a stretch mark, you was a weak man. Because you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you have to. Because she's beautiful, but she also tells me I'm awesome no matter what about. I might doubt myself that day. No, baby, you got this. And when your woman whispers in your ear, there's a party that says, you're right, Big Daddy got this. And you're going to go out there and you're going to jump the wall and you're going to change the world because your woman believes in you. But when you have that life, you're going to find someone to feed that ego. That's what
Right.
it is, and that's why women we cheat because we're just dogs. No, it's that's why there's players. That's why people who intentionally do it because they are in need of that constant ego stroke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Wow. And so here's the key of the key of the day. So based off what he just said, the key is to validate her and inflate him to a degree. If you get my drift, you know,
I
you're
like that. I
validating her
like
and you're
that.
inflating him. Because think about it, nobody likes something that's not erect, correct? So you want him to be erect. You know how you look on the side of the road, you see those balloons doing like this or those car places? It's erect. It's erect so it can be seen. So if you're erecting him, he can be seen and be great. You get me? And vice versa. He's validating you, and you can stand firm, and you don't have to go around dressing half like this or going to all these places so you can get attention and validation elsewhere. You understand what I'm saying?
But you know what? You know what, Adrian? I like the fact that you talked about your being consistent with your lady to tell her on a consistent basis. Because what I have found, and I really do believe it's cultural. What I have found in our cultural is that in our men, some, not all, they don't do it consistently. I see a lot of the women do it consistently as far as like Charles said, inflating their man. But there's a lot of times where guys in our communities don't do the same thing for their women. They validate them periodically. You understand what I'm saying? But not continually to let her know how she appears to you on a regular, habitual basis. Almost like it's what you're saying is that it's second nature to you now to make certain that you impart this into her so that she won't seek it elsewhere to be found because it's coming from you. It's coming from your heart to her ears.
Right.
Right.
And you got to think of it as you have to watch your circles. It walks like a duck. It talks like a duck. It's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
When you hang out with ducks, you're gonna be look like a duck. So
Right.
it's not. I don't know what circles you run into. Men that I know often, you know what I'm saying, flatter their women or cater to the women, even though it may not seem like it, because that was our mission as men, and those are the men I hang out with. I know a lot of women who will say, "Why do I have to tell him he's doing good?" Or "Why do I have to baby him?" Or "Why do I have to do this?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Correct.
why do I have to keep inflating his ego? Because as people, we need this just in different ways.
Right.
So the women want to be independent and powerful and make these decisions, but you want this man who's going to be tough and protect you, and you're sending mixed signals.
Right.
So,
right.
you know, this consistency, and like I'm saying, that's why you find these people who are out here with these time frames because, you know, I knew my wife before she even gave me the cookie told me, we do this, we get married. You know, so I knew that in my mind, even though as you know, my dumb self was like, yeah, right, I'm just about to get it in. But subconsciously, it was already stuck in my head that if I do this, her thought is getting married.
She planted the seed. She planted
the seed. So she started treating me like, hey, I want to be with you. So even though she was ahead of me in the race, I'm looking like I'm still following. Boom, boom, boom. So
but if men are honest, if you're honest, I don't care if you plan or whatever, or laying, whatever you call it, most women will drop at some point, they're going to drop a subliminal seed of what their desired end game is. If that's what they want, they're going to put it out there, either in a conversation, it may come out at dinner, a random time. Well, you know, I'm really not doing this for this because I'm not getting no younger. This is what I want. So those that are quiet and say nothing, the guy just takes it that way. But most women, if you with them, if they want that, they're going to get it out one way or the other. They're going to let you know what their ultimate goal is with you.
That's
or what they desire.
Yeah. That's very, and sometimes it leaks out by accident. It's not like you intentionally say it, but it's something about that man that makes you end up saying it by default. You're like, oh my God, I didn't mean to tell him. I didn't mean to say it. I was thinking it, but I didn't mean for it to come out. So sometimes, I mean, it like leaks out literally, but it's something about that man that speaks to us as women that we say, okay. I can do this with him. I'm good. I can do whatever I got to deal with, as long as it's not gonna cause me to be harmed physically or mentally or something like that. I can do whatever I got to do with him. Something about that man in that time.
What you think of is women who ask men on dates and women who ask men to get married. Those bother me. I wish a woman would.
Oh
I'm
no,
saying, the answer's
that's
gonna
a
be, I would
negative.
say if
That's
I
a
give
negative.
you 100 grand, I'm gonna say no.
That ain't
You know
coming
what
from
I'm
me,
saying?
Me and Marquita. No, we don't.
I'm not doing that.
We ain't doing
And
none
you
of
see
that.
it all over Facebook. They got these extravagant ceremonies and asking this man getting down on one knee. I'll be like, girl, if you don't get up, you know what I'm saying? That's not your
That is
role.
crazy.
That is not your. That's not this. We starting this whole relationship off wrong. And
Right.
you got to
Yeah.
think. We have. I'm saying there was this article of there's a fictional article about how to create a slave, and you make a woman believe she doesn't need a man. You know what I'm saying? And a man believes she doesn't want me. A man believes he doesn't need a woman. He only
Right.
needs his mother.
Right.
But somehow this piece of fiction has ingrained itself in the American populace.
Right. Absolutely.
So now women believe I don't need a man to be successful. I don't need a man to do this. And a man thinking, man, all I need is my mama. You
Right.
know, and so
Right.
you know what I'm saying? These things, so sometimes he's looking for somebody to represent his mom. You know what I'm saying? And so he's looking for somebody to lead him and tell him where to go. Really,
Right.
you need somebody to tell you how great you are and how far you can go.
Right.
And the woman, you're saying you should
Exactly.
be, yes, you can rule the world. A woman can be president. A woman can be all this, but you still want that protection. You still want to come home. Even if you're CEO, you want to come home and feel that I am protected. My man got me. All that stuff that happened out there can't get me here.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
That's why people keep playing these games, because the whole mind scheme and the whole of relationship is messed up. Yes, there are roles.
Because I was gonna put
but you gotta find them.
True. I was gonna put a post up about that and say, why do we say we really don't need a man, right? Because in my brain, I thought when I was thinking about even putting the post up, I literally was thinking to myself, man, when the car break down, man, it was a mouse in my house like 2 years ago. I was looking out when I tell you all that stuff, like perfect example. One of my showers and one of my bathrooms wasn't working. Called a man. Didn't call no woman. Didn't say, hey girl, can you come fix the shower? No. The garbage disposal wasn't working. Called a man. So it was like that kind of stuff, those things, wasp nest was on the side of my house. Called a man. You know what I mean? So it was that protection and safety thing. When you understand your role as a woman, I really don't buy into all that independent woman stuff. Although I feel like you need to be interdependent and make certain that you handle your affairs. Whatever you created, you need to be responsible for it. But all that independent stuff, I just think it's a dangerous thing to even buy into that, because you really do take the masculine and feminine component of what makes humanity what it is away in totality. It's almost like we're gonna make our own selves extinct. If we say I don't need you and you don't need me, it's like you're really making your own self extinct by doing so. No such thing. No such thing.
I think it's a defense mechanism, though.
It
I
is
think in the defense mechanism, you would say that I don't need a man in order to not be hurt by one.
Right.
In a sense.
Right.
So you kind of put on this facade like, oh no, I got it, or it's something that's been domesticated because you're not really sure of how a man is supposed to look or the leading role. So you have to figure it out yourself. So you say to yourself, well, no, I don't need a man. So it's not really you're saying it to be true. It's just more of a defense mechanism to lie to yourself.
Right. For whatever you're trying to spare yourself from, in essence.
Right.
Yeah.
I think our culture, we deal with that more than any other culture, where you'll have a lot of women say they don't need a man.
Right.
And I think one of the other things, like she said, to protect yourself or from something that might have happened before, but it's we continue to go back and forth. And I think one of the things, well, I'll put it this way, when you look at the dynamics of families today and the absenteeism of a lot of fathers from families, you go back years from all the systematic stuff that's been in place from slavery back and forth. If you don't understand what a man's role really was, in some cases, like somebody, a friend of mine was saying she was looking at her spouse and his sister, and she was saying looking at their parents, which had a damaging relationship, and then even their whole family. She said neither one of them have ever seen a positive relationship.
Right.
So they don't even know how to even be in a relationship.
Right.
So you add that, like I said, to the fact, and then the absentee fathers, for whatever the reason is.
Right.
Now if you're never seeing as a young man growing up or as a young woman growing up what a real relationship looks like and the role of a man and the role of a woman, we're now trying to create something that we've never actually seen naturally.
Right.
That's what's,
Right. Charles, can you shut us down?
oh, all right. So we didn't talk about I know most of this show we covered the playing aspect. We didn't really talk about the plans. But I will say this. In an ideal world, we need to discuss the plans before we start the plan because they don't work well in reverse.
True.
So that's what I have on that. But I mean, I enjoyed all of you guys tonight. Carl, I'm glad we got to connect. And Doc, hey, we got to do this again, man. We got to keep on doing. This is fun. You know, y'all got to come. This was fun. The time went by just like that because it was fun. But that's what it should be. And I appreciate you all giving your time on tonight to deal with this. You know, Bob P. Coffee always want to come up with these, these dramatic topics. So we'll wait to see what she got next. We'll see.
Oh yeah, well, hey, look, if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it, y'all. That's all to
Right.
it. If you're gonna get out here, you're gonna may as well get in deep water and not be shallow about it.
All right. Okay.
So you gonna shut them down, like what you want us to do to close out?
Well, we can just everybody real quick, give me a 3-second nugget on your send out, and we'll just give it to y'all, and then we'll go on from there. Marquita, we'll start with you. Your closing quick nugget.
Closing quick nugget would be just be upfront and communicate. Let them know what you want, and I mean, roll from there. That'll be my quick nugget.
And Marquita, no more on pause dating. Swim in the other pool. Anyway, go ahead.
Whatever.
It's my defense mechanism.
Right?
Well, listen, that's the key word. If you have to approach it from a defensive nature, you're doing it all wrong because dating should be offensive, shouldn't be defensive. All right, Carl.
Get a name tag, and underneath the name tag, say whether you are playing or you planning.
Ooh, that's good. Good stuff. That's good stuff.
That's good. Let me get my name tag. Hold on. Let me get my name tag.
Your season's over. You done. You need to be playing.
But real quick to Carl. You know what? You know what's so bad? What Carl said is really ideal. Oh Lord, ideal in what I'm sure a woman would love to say. Oh, Carl is saying he is playing. I mean, planning. But guess what? We have a lot of women have and I'm not saying that there aren't reasons for the jaded mindset because we clearly know we as men we clown, right? But it's so bad that Carl may come and approach a woman like that, but because of the jaded thoughts, what's wrong with him? Ain't no man playing it up front. He just want to play. He just saying that. And Carl might be serious. He's saying, look, because they don't know he's been married and he knows how to put the time in, but in their mind, because he's saying, look, this is my first sticker, and this is what I want to do, they think he's something wrong with him. So he's easy one of them people that if he leads off with that, I almost want to tell Carl to put the sticker on his back. Because when you lead off with the sticker up front, they end up putting you right in the friend zone because they think you ain't for real. Just tell you the truth. Yeah.
That's true.
All right, Doc. Come on, go on, throw some fire at him. Come on.
All right.
Here we go.
Date to get to know someone. Don't date looking for your needs to be met.
Right.
Ooh, that's confirmation. Yeah.
Because the dating is the get to know you phase.
Right.
Being committed is the time to start thinking about what is my long-term goal.
Right.
So, and if you don't want the expectations of a girlfriend, don't be the girlfriend during the dating.
Right.
And don't be the boyfriend during the dating.
Right.
Good stuff.
You need, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a physical person, and I can't tell you I'm gonna wait, but waiting is not a bad thing.
Right.
Because that way they know I'm getting to know you. Ask the questions. Ask the hard questions. Dating is when you should meet the mama, not when you've been together for 2 years. Because these are the things, that's when it's not time to find out when you're my girl. You know what I'm saying? When I say you're my woman, now it's time for us to, this is my woman, and I got certain expectations of behavior, and you got expectations of me.
Right.
So, and then so if you're playing and you know you don't want to go to that next level, keep it casual. You know? hey, let's go out. Let's kick it. Just because I take you out doesn't mean I want to be with you. That means
Mm.
I wanted a steak and I'm saying we're free.
You know, Dr. Woods, wait a
Good
minute.
stuff,
Before we
man.
close, wait a minute, hold on, Dr. Woods. Before we
Oh,
close this
Lord.
person, hold on a minute, Dr. Woods.
I thought we were closing. I thought it was my turn.
know.
My
We
nugget.
don't close, but I got to ask this. I got to ask this question because he didn't put it out there.
Oh, Lord.
So, Dr. Woods, use your PhD on this one. Why do we do the opposite when it comes to the meet the family concept? Why do we do it on the back end instead of, like you said, not all the way on the front, but within a good amount of time in the front zone? Why do we wait so long to connect with the family of our person?
Because
Why
in
is
the
that?
African American household, the mother's put on this pedestal that cannot be touched. You have to think about saying mothers and fathers and how the dynamic has shifted and how it's been diluted by saying not only the father but the mother. Because there's a reason that man left. And so when you put your mother on a pedestal, you gotta remember this is whole dynamic of making a slave. Your mother is your golden star. That is your light. That's who shines. So somebody who meets your mother must be special. Somebody who meets your family must be special. So now you choose this one I'm thinking about being with. Now she has met the family. Mom and girl don't get along. Now it's affecting dynamic of this relationship. So
After
because
you
mom
made
is
this
either
long
way is on this pedestal. So that's why I said put it in the beginning. I'm not saying after 2
Not
weeks.
all the way. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
know
like,
what you mean.
2 or 3 months into dating,
Right.
bring it to a family dinner and see how she reacts. Because if this person isn't that important to you, you need to know in the beginning this is not going to work. Not when your heart is invested in this, and now now all of a sudden there's no understanding. Trust me, you do not be in a place where your mother-in-law doesn't like you. Take my example, please. So
Yes.
Well,
it
look,
makes it very hard.
yeah. And here's the
You know?
flip side. Here's the flip side to what he said. So that's the ideal and more likely explanation of why that distance happens with the family. But here's the other side. Sometimes people don't let you meet the family on the female part or the man because the family questions your judgment because you done already took 6 people around them and didn't work out.
Correct.
So now
Right.
you like, I'm not doing that because really what it is the guy don't or the woman don't know it, but you don't want to be embarrassed by your family, so they got to pay for it. It ain't their fault, but you're making them pay for it subliminally because you done ran a bad track record before them. You get my drift?
So Charles, is that something that you've done? You seem like you know firsthand.
Oh my Lord.
I had to get you back.
I understand.
I had to
There
get you
needs
back.
to be a site that literally requires you to date somebody because some people just don't know who to pick. They pick bad people.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not gonna call no names, but I know some people that should not be allowed to pick their own spouse.
Wow.
They are bad. So there needs to be a whole site where it says you are contractually signing that I am going to seriously date the person that you pick because
That is so
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
hilarious. Yeah, we know some people like that, Adrian, but we ain't gonna call
you
nobody.
ain't gonna say no name.
Free coffee.
Yes, sir.
Tell the people good night. And then
Well, I can't get no closing remarks. I just gotta say.
yeah, go home. That's why I said you do it and give them close marks and tell people good night.
Okay, now after I get a closing remark, you can't come behind me and give another dissertation.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So, on tonight, this was a great collaboration of minds. Dr. Woods, thank you for showing up and acting up like you normally do. Marquita, thank you for your presence and your thought-provoking responses on how I notice how you think through before you say something. I love that about you. Carl, and we appreciate you putting on your name tag, but put it in the bag on tonight, according to Dr. Dixon. Dixon he says put it in the bag for right now so you won't end up in the friend zone ministry.
Yeah.
And with that, plan with purpose in mind and play after the purpose has been announced. So obviously the playing beforehand has not worked. So it's better to play after you've done all the planning, and then you can play at a later date because it'll be a lot more wiggle room if you play after you plan.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But
Good
you
stuff.
said something. You weren't supposed to say that.
I'm not gonna bother you. I said good stuff. That get me
All
started.
right, y'all have an awesome night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our incredible panelists and all of our viewing audience. Thank you guys. There was a whole lot of new people in the viewing audience tonight. So guys, thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate you guys. Have an incredible balance of the week, and we'll see you guys on next week's episode of The Hot Seat.
All right. Take care,
Good
everybody.
night.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.